our media partners. Maybe I'll just address those who are already here. Oriental Daily, Ikra Media, Entamizh Online Media, Sinchio Daily, and of course Bernama. And a few more media people are on the way. Some are looking for parking place. Okay, now let's not wait anymore. We'll continue our event. Okay, to start today's event, I call upon the chairman of GBM, Saudara Stanley Yong, to give his welcome speech.
Okay, I was advised to sit down, so I sit down. All right. All right, very warm welcome. Salam sejahtera, salam bahagia. Welcome, 大家早上好. A very good morning to everybody, including members from the press, from the social media, from various NGOs, and also leaders from our own GBM's member organizations. They are all here for the launching of the campaign of Manifesto Rakyat 2, which has already begun to start the journey. Hopefully that we can actually be able to finish this campaign and get the work done within a year. We all know that Malaysia is going to have another general election, which will fall likely on the mid part of year 2027, or even latest by 2028. Yeah. Now, this is a follow-up of what we have did in the last general election 2022, where we produced Manifesto Rakyat 2, 人民宣言2, before the GE15 that was held, I think, November of 2022. Basing on the effort that we put in and also the effort from all NGOs and press, I can see that most of the manifesto contents or the requirements or the demands or the voices of the people are relevant, at the same time being in majority taken up by political parties, even though they actually have some difficulty in complying to all. But I can see that some of them actually are already put in action. For this Manifesto Rakyat 2, we find that we have to probably deepen our journey into the grassroots so that we can collect the voices and the suggestions, proposals, ideas on policy and whatnot in a more comprehensive manner, so that actually the candidates of the political parties that stand for the GE16 would have no excuse to say that I do not know what you are thinking of. So this is actually primarily a very what we call inclusive project, where we wish all the community leaders of different races, pelbagai kaum, and also from different background, are able to stand to the forefront to tell the future leaders of the government what actually we thought would be better to make Malaysia a more progressive and harmonious society. This launching is hoping to get everybody to move to the grassroots, collect the data and feedback, and I think Jihan, Dr. Lim Jihan, the leader of this campaign, will be able to set the timeline and also tell us the steps and by steps what are we going to do for the collection of the data to make this campaign Manifesto Rakyat 2 successful, and also at the same time a more relevant contents-wise kind of a manifesto to the country and to the leaders. Now I'd like to pass back the mic to our MC for the next speaker.
Okay, thank you, Saudara Stanley Yong, the chairman of GBM. Okay, now the most important part is the introduction of Manifesto Rakyat 2.0 by Dr. Lim Jihan, Program Coordinator of Manifesto Rakyat 2.0. I call upon Dr.
Good morning, everyone. Oh, this mic's make me nervous. Press the slides to be put on. Yeah, thank you very much, and good morning to everyone. Thanks for coming. Thanks, GBM Chairman Stanley, and our beloved EXCO members, and NGO partners and media friends here. Today is the day that we are going to launch the Manifesto Rakyat 2.0 campaign. So my role today is to introduce you to the Manifesto Rakyat 2.0, what is actually installed, and what is it different or have similarity with the previous 1.0. I'm the program coordinator for this initiative. I'm also GBM EXCO member representing Agora Society. So today's the outline, I would like to talk about the need. Next slide, please. Dinesh. Yeah, first to talk about why it's need, and I would like to remind you about the achievements of Manifesto 1.0, what actually worked in the past, and what actually there's room to improve. And I will tell you how we are different this time, and in terms of our structures, our mechanisms. I'll give you a timeline. The main purpose is to influence the policy making in the next government or even the current government, because they still have the remainder of the 2 years term left to fulfill their election promises. So our eventual targets is to the government. Next, we need to do it again. So you will see there are many controversies in the government. I think it's a structural problems. Next slide, you can see that these are the hot issues in the past year. We have corruption allegations. We have people evicted from their home. We have people like some kind of mockery of the justice, DNA to our high-level politicians, and even whistleblowers got carried away in some fashion. And our country, our leaders allegedly signed away some kinds of rights and sovereignty when we sit down with the US President Trump. I think all these voices from the ground, we cannot take it lightly. These are correct public sentiments, and people can see what is going on in the country, and we want justice, just like people demanding justice for Sarah. So next, we actually really have many issues. The old one haven't solved, and new ones keep on coming. Some are getting worse, and we want to hold the government to accounts because of their promises. What's the use of election promises if they are not to be kept? So Madani government has been in power for more than 3 years now. We want to, I think, gauge the public sentiment and also our NGO friends. How's the performance so far? What can they do in the remainder term? So we must remind them about the promises that the reform agenda they promised us. So this time is after 5 years compared to the first call for the proposal. It was in 2021 May. So it was almost about 5 years ago. I think must have changed in the national politics, even international geopolitics. So we justify that now is the time to gather a new round of voices on the government's performance and policies. Okay, I still want you to look at, next, the many party manifestos by our ruling coalition. I wonder if the politicians still remember them, and also media and public lah. And what have they promised? Why not any talking about the election promises again? So why is it not in prominence? I think Manifesto Rakyat, our initiative here is to make everyone thinking seriously about manifesto. It's a promise. So it's to build the trust between voters and the political parties and politicians. So once someone promised, we voted for you, you better keep the promise. So that's the goal, that we want to make manifesto a real deal. So whatever they promise, we must hold them accountable. So we give you a brief review of our Manifesto Rakyat 1.0, why we want to keep on doing this. Okay, this was actually the publication we launched in 2022 May. It was about 5 months before the general election. It was actually the main reference point for many political parties. Whether you know it or not, we encourage them to pick those good ideas from this book, and they did. So what is it stand out that we must do this again? Is actually it's a real collection of people's voices with real names and faces, not just someone sitting in the back room, in the aircon room, writing out the whole chapter like an academician, like those not actually working into the communities. So these are the real proposals from the real faces and names. You can see it, who say what in this manifesto right here. And we put it in the website. Those are that actually is an old website name. We have the manifesto rakyat.my, which will continue keep updating throughout the campaign. So it's a microcosm of the diverse voices from people. It's still the same vision that we have to we have an inspiration for harmonious and equitable, progressive nation. Next. It used to be a collaborative project between GBM and CSO platform. Now, now GBM continue carry the torch. So I want to show you the basic difference next between our manifesto and political manifesto. Just to remind you, the political party manifesto is decided by a few strategists or party members who want to have a say in policies. So actually, it does usually lack some kind of consultation. It's very top-down. Their purpose is to get your votes. So it's a very vested interest, but ours is different. We want to present the real voices. It's bottom-up approach. We go to everyone, communities, to get their voices. Last time we also have call for proposal. We did get about 300 proposals. So we give credits to people who give the ideas. So we put their names there if they want to be identified. So we say that this document, you can still find this and download this, although it's 5 years ago, the voices, many are still very relevant. You read it, it's like, a lot of things still not done, and this is what people still wanting, but we haven't seen anything yet. Okay? Next. Our purpose is to build a broad, inclusive social coalition among the people, among the NGOs, even the academia. So that's why we say we come to this platform, Manifesto Rakyat, to do this, and we cherish the idea ownership, because I think any good ideas, innovative, creative ideas, actually can break the deadlock of those policies in the framework. We should get out of the box to look at problems comprehensively. And one thing also about Manifesto Rakyat is to, like today, we have our press conference, and we will continue to do so in the roadshow and more discussion to have active engagement with people, just to persuade people about, well, we do have very good ideas. Next. There was a timeline last year. We actually called for proposal for 3 months, and then this culminated in policy town hall. Because all this proposal will give it to us, we will let people to meet up and discuss, deliberate, then only we will put it into the paper. So it's not just like whatever you submit, you will get published. It's not like that. We also appreciate the process of discussion, deliberation. We believe that voters rakyat have the nationality to do so. And next, we launched it in 2022 before the general election. You can see some pictures, some old faces here, and we did get some kind of coverage at the time. Yeah, we went to BFM, and then we also have a joint effort with, with Ariel. We put our ideas, the joint petition in the change.org. We got, I think, more than 5,000 signatures in a very short time, in 2 weeks' time, just before the general election. And then, next, I'm very proud to tell you that we engage with all political parties from all sides. We have people from Pakatan Harapan, PKR, the DAP, went to their service center at their parties. And then we also visited smaller parties like PSM, Muda. We also went to meet Dr. at the time. He was leading the drug and gerakan NRIA. We also have PN site to Bersatu, and then we visited MCA. So all parties really very passionate or enthusiastic to meet us and listen to us. So this shows that the importance of and the weight, the significance of Manifesto Rakyat. Then we hold event like Manifesto Dialogue. That was before the announcement of, before the campaign of the general election. Yeah, there's one important question that we pose and we ask for the response. Next, whether we want to reinstate the local government elections. And you can see the PH, but it was a maybe, and which is very true, because in the Pakatan Harapan manifesto, it promised only the KL mayor, the possibility of have a KL mayor direct election. So which is happening right now. So it's a maybe, so it's not a total free-for-all local election. And we want to show you the 10 top demands from the manifesto Rakyat, how it compatible with the 3 major political alliances with BN, Pakatan Harapan, and PN. Actually, you can see striking similarities. I think 6 out of 10 from BN and about 7 out of 10 from PH. You can see they actually agree. So whatever they didn't say, yeah, they haven't. I think I want to point out that the Parliamentary Select Committee appointment of the MSCC and EC chiefs, they say yes on both accounts. I mean, BN and Pakatan Harapan say yes, they want to go through this process, but this has never taken into action. We are, from the civil society point of view, we are very disappointed because we know how important are MSCC and EC in terms of affecting the national politics. So there are some major promises like separation of public prosecutor and AGC. Government did give their promise. They said they will do that, but we haven't seen it implemented. We don't know whether it could be implemented before general election. So there are many things we still need to push them. But this can show how strong the influence is our Manifesto Rakyat to the major political coalition at that time. And before the general election, we had this manifesto and policy debate in Gabungan a few days before the voting day, because we want the culture of people talking about policies, not politicking, attacking personal attacks, because we want to force the healthy, rational debates about policy. This is what politics should be about. So we put that into action. We invited the major representative from all sides. And this was live telecast type. And our features, I think still do, we want to practice this, is to allow people to just download the whole document and look at it, and you endorse by chapters. We have this mechanism that you can, if you agree on the health chapter, you just endorse as just the health chapter. And last time we also worked in tandem with MP profiling website, where we hold MP candidates accountable. We put in all the profile, what they say in the media, and so that Rakyat can make informed decision about their choices. Okay, next. Quickly, last time we had 27 policy areas that spread to 3 pillars, and we have received, like I say, 289 public submission that actually form the basis of foundation of this book. And you can see the numbers of the submission mostly on human rights, women, child, economic justice, education. These are the hot topics at the time. I think I believe it could be the same for the future, our second 2.0. Next. This was about the proposal structure at the time. We want them to be short, concise, talk about the problem, but provide the solutions. Solution is what actually make the difference. Next. So the impact is very foreseeable. Just to summarize, actually we have made more NGOs working together. we got some kind of attention, and people love about some ideas contained in the manifesto. And actually, this gives new perspective to the political parties, and they adopted in their manifesto. Okay, next. But we do have our limitation at time. So one talk about the improvement. So it was very rushed because we only had like 3 months to collecting the inputs, and we also lack of legs to go through the whole country to the rural area or to the East Malaysia. So this time we want to have more partnership. We want to do more roadshows so that it's not only on paper you submit to Manifesto Rakyat. We want to go to you and get your voices. And in a very simple term, like we have a survey form, you just fill in. You don't have to be a good writer or orator, academician to publish, to give something like a response. So we also didn't actually successfully change the culture of politics. They still don't talk about policy that much because I think there's some limitation to the political parties and politicians themselves because they don't know too much. I think our document will help them, give them more ideas, so at least they do the right things for the right people. Okay, next. And why we should continue is that we see the very positive light of this initiative. That's why we need to keep on and build more coalition with the same vision. Okay, we want to bring in more ideas because I think it's a very challenging time now. 5 years ago we don't talk about AI, we don't talk about data center, we don't talk about a lot of things, And now also there's a revival talk of using nuclear energy as a source of power, and it's actually worrying many among us. Yeah. So I think it's still worth to keep pressing on because public sentiments have changed. So we want to help those people actually affected. Okay. Next up, we have some kind of a structure. We want to implement that with this clearly difference of a decision making, operation, and the most contributing one is in the working group where we have the policy coordinators, like 2 per policy areas. I will show you. I will introduce you to Manifesto Rakyat 2.0, the 4 pillars of the Manifesto Rakyat 2.0. Being people and society, people's rights, people's well-being, and people's institutions. And I want to show you about the design of the logo. We continue from the 1.0. We use purple because this is not the color currently adopted by any major political coalition. And we want to be seen independent. If we use the PN blue, you will see that we are biased, or the PH red. We don't want that. We want to see it as independent. And also, purple is usually for the women's rights movement color. So we want to be inclusive. We want to show that we are really inclusive. And why is it a sphere? In Chinese, we say 团圆, must be a round. And we are united in Malaysian color. You can see it's a 4 Malaysian color. And we are under the symbols of our nation. So we want to hope that this initially go out to gather people's voices based on the nation building sentiments. We want to see a better Malaysia. I just want to talk a little bit about the design of the logo and then the 4 pillars. Let's straight out to the 4 pillars. First, introduce you the peoples and society. The policy chapter in orange is the new one, because I remember last time when we went to DAP HQ to talk about our Manifesto Rakyat, they find the whole book. They could say, hey, why there's no mention about senior citizen? They're very concerned about aged care. So I think it's fair. It's very fair criticism. Then we find someone who actually expert in the area now help this senior citizen chapter. Also, we expand. Last time we only have Sabah and Sarawak chapters. Now, because we really cherish local democracy, we want to look at local issues. We also want to expand, talking about Klang Valley issues, Northern Peninsula, Southern Peninsula, and East Coast. So we hope we can get submissions and inputs from this region, and we have also marginalized vulnerable communities. We also talk about nation building, which is a core mission and principles of GPM. We want to talk about racial harmony, religious harmony, and unity. This is the people's and society policy pillar. Next up, we will have a people's right. Citizenship is the new policy area, but actually it's a combine from some of the area last time because we talked about stateless people. So now we have focused talking about just the citizenship, human rights, very basic rights policy area that we want to talk about. Next, people's well-being. Addition, we only have economic justice, and many business people actually talk to us saying that we want to talk about how to make this country develop, talk about development, sustainable development, and how we can do that. So now we have this economic development and justice. But you still want to put the social justice in there to remind people that we want a balanced one. That's not all for making money, but have to think about people's rights and welfare. Yeah? So we also have a housing, actually separated from the economic justice last time. Now it's a standalone policy chapter, people's well-being. Lastly, Manifesto Rakyat. Next, we are for institutional reform. We are very serious about that, and actually the defense and national security also should be in orange also. Yeah, it's a new area because when we went to Bersatu and Berjuang, they are very they take it very seriously about this policy, and they couldn't find anything about the national security and defense. I think it's also very fair criticism. We take it on board. That's why we show improvement this time. We find people who knows about this stuff to helm the policy. Now we have this defense and national security together with the anti-corruption, parliament, judiciary reform, and electoral system. Okay. Yeah. Basically, two policy coordinators for each policy area. You can see that we have 37 areas right now. It's a very huge team. It's a very more than 70%. Yeah. So their roles is very important because they are the heartbeat of each policy area because they know people from the community. They are experts and they're working long time on the area. We actually very decentralized for the working group. We respect the policy coordinators in their own right and the capability to reach out to people. So we hope the best for the whole team to collect the required inputs to make our Manifesto Rakyat greater for the next term. Okay, yeah. So what we can do right now is we always we still use the template to collect the long policy submission, the 400 words one. But I think by today you can see the press statement. Also, I will show you the link that we already come up with a survey form that you can simply put in your opinions. Yeah, you can sign up to 5 top issues for particular policy area of your concern. Yeah, and suggest. We will place the importance in the suggestion on how government can do better. Okay, how to solve them. Yeah. So we will also, when we go to the roadshow, we'll print it in the physical copy so that this will not disadvantage the digital illiterate people. Okay, and we will do, promise we will do more roadshows, forums, and meetings just to collect all these voices. Not all are good writers, but they can speak, right? So we have to document all these inputs. Okay, so let me introduce you to the next one. Calling for proposal. All these are set up. The Chinese and Tamil still need to have some tweak, but the English and Melayu one is already there. You can just type in and then start giving your inputs to us. And yeah, the input you can, this you can always go back and update the form because it will be safe. For 4 pillars, you can choose whatever policy you're concerned. If you need to comment more, you can submit another response again. Yeah. So in the way we aim to collect more and more ideas from you in your preferred language. So people very, I mean, they are more comfortable with Chinese. They can use just the link in all Chinese. They can just type in Chinese. In the end, we'll compile it and call you to our policy town hall to discuss together with everyone. Okay. Next. This is our tentative timeline. Now we call the press conference today. From now to 31st of July, which is the deadline for the submission, we will do all the campaign to collect the inputs, all the voices. And by the end of August, we need like 2-3 days to do the quality town hall. We gather people together and we discuss, deliberate their proposals. That will be like a month after the closing of the submission. And then we will go through drafting out the chapters. And hopefully by first quarter or second quarter of 2027, we'll come up with the Manifesto Rakyat 2.0. We'll call press conference again. Of course, hope we are not too late for that because who knows? But for the next general election, they need to be called by November of 2027. So if we can come up by before May, should be okay time, very comfortable. We can also engage with political parties and everyone with the real documents, with the inputs and compilation from the people. So yeah, we do expect G16. We do want to talk to engage with political parties. We will count on you, giving your best inputs, and policy coordinator will do our best to make it into a very relevant document, which is very significant and impactful. Okay, I think that's all for me. Next, thank you. That's all about the Manifesto Rakyat 2.0. Thank you.
Thank you to Dr. Lim Jihan for introducing the Manifesto Rakyat 2.0, where we come in a different layer and submit, bring up before the general election 16. Okay, now time, can I call them experts or activists? All right, so I call upon, anyway, before that, thank you to all the panelists who are here or ESCO member of TVN. First, I call upon Saudara Faizal Aziz to take your seat, followed by Saudari Asha Dalila. All right. Next will be Dr. Chitra, then Saudara SP Nathan, and also Saudara Muhammad Shani. 3 of them can sit there, 2 of them here. And I think Mr. Stanley also can sit here. They have space, no issue. Okay, now time for us to listen to the speakers today on the performance of the current government and where we put up our Manifesto Rakyat 1.0 before the last election. And then now time to evaluate whether our Manifesto Rakyat has been fulfilled by the current government. Okay, so first I call upon Saudara Faizal Aziz, who is the chairman of Bertindak. Okay, his pillar will be People's Institution. Thank you.
Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and very good morning. First of all, thank you Dr. Jihan, our brothers from GBM and also Tamil Foundation as well for hosting CSO. I think all of you have known that now GE or maybe state elections just around the corner, and this is what CSO have always been doing. When it comes to GE, there are a lot of things, maybe activities by CSO, especially to ensure that all the promises to push for the reform to move forward by the government, and this is one of the things that CSO always been doing. Manifesto Rakyat 2.0. Before this, we had Manifesto Rakyat. Just a brief about maybe performance or maybe our aspiration for the reform. First of all, I would like to highlight on the electoral reform first, because election is our core business of Bertindak. Yet until now, I can say there is no serious effort by the government for this particular electoral reform. First, when we talk about election boundaries, I would like to quote Electoral Integrity Report
2022. This is our main concern about electoral boundaries. Our principles, we always uphold the principle of one vote, 1%, one vote, one value. Where, according to the data of statistics in 2022, international reports reported that our boundaries was severe in terms of equal vote shares. For example, during last GE, our score was just 30.95 as compared to others. At least for the auto registration, for the undi 80, we score higher, like 80 or maybe 85 or 89. And looking at the automatic registration and the increase of the new voters from the young people, especially who reside at the town or at the urban areas, we can see the pattern will be more worse. Will be worse, especially in terms of unequal vote shares. For example, we always address the comparison between Bangi and Sabah Benam. Previously, Bangi had 300,000 plus voters and Sabah Benam 50,000 plus. And now, I believe Bangi have, I think, reached to 400,000. So if government fails to address this matter, this issue, I don't know what happened to our score for the next GE. And it will be worse, and of course, it should be indicated to move forward to address this matter. Secondly, about the institution report as well for the EC, our main concern as well about the independence of EC. Now, after the Parliamentary Security Act, PSA, of course, government have upgraded the PSSC on human rights, institution reform, and also I forgot what one chaired by William to be the permanent committee. And now, but the main issue is all the institution reform, all the legal matters put under one basket under this PSSC chaired by William. Our proposal, we should have separate PSSC to monitor the election process or the appointment process of the EC, the commissioner, and also the chair, deputy chair, and so on. And it is timely as well for the parliament to discuss, to debate the election report. Now we have election report published by the EC in the website, but it is very important as well for the parliament to discuss the report of the EC. And PSSC should have power to call upon the EC chair, for example, to discuss, to express the matters on the election. So we can have bipartisan commitment by all political parties, especially when it comes to elections. And other things, now we see the government try to table the term limit for the Prime Minister or 10 years limit, and also the AGPP. Tomorrow we are going to have PC on this particular matter. Of course, if you ask us about this reform, we welcome this reform in principle, but we want to see the detail, and this is what have been advocating for by CSO. We need ample time before it is tabled in the parliament. We need to have more engagement, and especially when it comes to Parliament Select Committee, they themselves should alert, should call upon meeting to discuss about the bill, for example, the draft of the bill, before government rush through and then suddenly being passed by the parliament and so on. We don't want that to happen. Otherwise, no point to have the PSC, Parliamentary Services Act. And last but not least, we should be aware as well when we come to election. Now we can see we can smell the racial issues coming up. Since now we are approaching the GE, and it was there before. When it comes to political sentiments, GE or state election, any issue can be racialized, and including the issue of demand apportionment. When it comes to election boundaries, for example, there are certain quarters that he racial card saying that this maybe Chinese will get more seats and so on. So yeah, this is something that we should be aware of, be mindful, but of course we need to strategically push forward for this issue to be measured. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Saudara Faisal Aziz. Okay, the next speaker will be Saudari Asha Dalila, representative of Family Frontier. And pillar will be people's right.
Thank you so much. Assalamualaikum and good morning everyone. Thank you for joining us today. I'm Jaya from Family Frontiers, and today we are sharing the following statement where Family Frontiers acknowledges the Madani government's manifesto promises on citizenship, calls upon governments to fulfill unmet promises. Can you hear my voice? So, Family Frontiers welcome the passage of the landmark Constitution Amendment granting Malaysian mothers the right to confer citizenship on their overseas born children on a prospective basis. And we know that scheduled implementations on June 2026 and appreciate the government's efforts in approving many long-pending citizenship applications that had left my families in prolonged uncertainty. However, we regret that the amendment was not made retroactive, while the federal court settlement provides pathway for overseas born children below the age of 21 to apply for citizenship by registrations. This remedy remains limited. Most regrettably, the Citizenship Amendment Act 2026 leave unaddressed the situations of adult children of Malaysian women who were denied the opportunity to apply for citizenship as children solely because their Malaysian mother was historically denied equal citizenship rights on similar basis as Malaysian men. And these adult children of Malaysian women continue to bear the lifelong consequences of that discrimination and injustice that remains unresolved. So to build on this positive momentum, Family Frontiers calls for the full realization of the government's commitments under the GE15 manifesto, including one, full implementations of the Constitutional Amendment Act 2025 as committed by June 2026 for citizenship by operations by law to the overseas born children of Malaysian women on the same basis as Malaysian men. 2. Automatic citizenship for elderly Malaysians aged 60 and above with Malaysian children as committed in the GE50 manifesto. And 3. Comprehensive reform of citizenship and immigration law and practices to eliminate gender discriminations, including the withdrawal of reservations to Article 9.2 of CEDAW and Article 7 of the CRC, and upholding Article 8.2 of the Federal Constitution, which guarantees equality and non-discrimination on the basis of gender. We also want to measure to enhance the well-being of economic security of non-citizen spouses of Malaysians, including facilitate access to lawful employment for non-citizen spouses on long-term social visit passes to support household incomes and reduce vulnerability. Explicitly, we call for the removal of the stigma of prohibitions from the visas of non-citizen spouses of Malaysians. Second one is to access EPF and also soft soul protections at a similar level to citizens to strengthen social protections and provide basic financial security to Malaysian binational families. The third one is to support access to banking, housing, and economic activities to promote self-reliance and also the family stability. And the last one is to allow the renewal of visa through the simplified procedures without requiring the constant presence of Malaysian spouses to ensure continuity and also reduce administrative hardship. And for protections for separated, divorced, and widowed spouses, including access to permanent residence, independent work rights, and secure legal status in the best interest of the child and the family unity. Family unity and child welfare protections, including long-term visas or resident passes with work rights for foreign divorced parents to support co-parenting and the well-being of Malaysian children. Number 2, to access education for all stateless and undocumented children and the universal access to basic healthcare for stateless persons and the removal of cost barriers for non-citizen children. And the last one is a clear legal pathway to citizenship for adult children of Malaysian mothers who were never given the opportunity to apply as minors. And Family Frontiers remain committed to working alongside with the government to fulfill these promises to the nations. And we believe that by completing this reform, Malaysia will emerge as a more inclusive and also resilient nation. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, Saudari Asha Jamila, representative of Family Frontiers. Next, I call on Dr. Chitra Adiyodi, the General Secretary of EWF, and the pillar that's going to speak is people's well-being.
Under education. Thank you, Mr. Kunal. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We are here because most of us are thinking adults. Okay, the manifesto has come about because of GBM and the thinking adults there. So I would say that education is the underpinning element of change. Okay, so education is a very important part of all these changes that we are talking about. And to come up with quality education, to come up to get students who are thinking from the time they go into preschool, primary, secondary, university, we need quality education. We need quality teachers. And Manifesto Rakyat 2.0 has stressed a lot on quality teachers and how to ensure that we have quality teachers. That was one of the important pillars in the education pillar. Okay, there are 7 here, and currently, I'm sure all of you know about the Rancangan Pendidikan Malaysia that was launched earlier. Some of the items have been taken from the Manifesto Rakyat. Some, okay, like for instance, I would say school autonomy. It has been stressed in the Teras Strategic and under Strategy 3. It has been stressed that schools have to be given more autonomy. But this has been, introduced by MOE for many years already. But our issue here is not the introduction, not the idea coming out. Our issue here is implementation. Okay, that has also been stressed in Manifesto Rakyat. Implementation has to be monitored. Last week, I think a few NGOs sat together to go through the Rancangan Pendidikan Malaysia. Okay, a lot of things have been said, but very little on program implementation, monitoring, and evaluation. That has been left out. Who will monitor and who will make sure what is stated at the top level is implemented in the schools without any interference? All right. We are still talking about students who have issues with literacy. Schools with very few students have half of them with literacy issues. Has that not been monitored? Has that not been reported? And why? All right. And we have levels in education. We have the MOE, we have JPN, Jabatan Pendidikan Negeri, and we have PPD. What are their roles? How are they doing the implementation? So these type of things has not been ironed out, and it is still going on for many years. And I would also like to talk about the physical and mental health. Okay, that was stated in Teras Strategic 2. I'm just pointing out some of the pertinent issues, which was also mentioned in Manifesto Rakyat 2.0. So physical and mental health is in Teras Strategic 2 under Strategy 4. But when it comes to exams, no PE lesson in school. We have maths extra class, we have English extra class, we have BM extra class. Okay, some of it I would say it's the parents' need requirements, but isn't this important also? Especially now we have a lot of mental health issues. Okay, so these are things. So what the next, like what Jihan said, the next MR 2.0, we have to stress on the implementation and monitoring and evaluation of education in the schools. Okay. And our Education Act, we are in 2026 now. Our Act is 1996. We are all talking about moving forward, but our Act has not moved forward. Okay, there are amendments done, but I think it's time that we need to look at the Act itself. Right? So these are some of the things that we would like to highlight. more on quality education and make sure that quality education is given in our schools. Like I come from EWRF, we are doing programs in school. When we do programs, we know what is happening. I mean, the standard of the students. Students need a lot of help because now it's 2026. The scenario is very different from 30 years ago, 40 years ago, when we wanted to study and come up. Now many students are, this is enough for me. Okay. So I close my short explanation of quality education. The need for quality education, the need for program evaluation, what is happening in school has to be evaluated, okay, by the MOE, divisions and the public also. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Chitra, who spoke on education under the pillar people's well-being. Right. Next, I call upon Dr. S.P. Nathan, Secretary General of GPM, Mr. Plaza. You speak first. Okay. All right. His pillar will be people and society. Good morning.
What I want to say is this. The pillar for people and society has got 18 different areas, right? Like, for example, senior citizen, women, migrant workers, refugees, then local democracy in the various areas, nation building, unity, diversity, racial harmony, and all that. This has been stated before in our old manifesto, and I'm sure when we ask the people to give us their feedback on what they want for the new manifesto, the same thing will be repeated, right? So herein lies the issue. How much has it been done since the last manifesto? Like what Dr. Chihan said, after our manifesto was released in May 2022, political parties came out with their own manifesto in November 2022, right? And most of whatever was in our manifesto was in their manifesto, right? Not is because they followed us, because the problems are universal. Everybody knows about the problems, right? So you need to resolve that issue. What is lacking in this overall scenario, like what Dr. Chitra mentioned, is that the measurement of it. The voices have come out and said what they desire, right? The question is that desire being fulfilled? And that desire can only be fulfilled if there is a measurement introduced into this entire voices. This is something which GBM will try to do to the best we can. But the biggest challenge that GBM faces is the same challenge all of you face. That is lack of resources. When you walked in today, we could only afford nasi lemak and some mineral water and coffee. Right? That is because that's to the extent the resources can allow us. Right? So after collecting the voices, after putting the measurement mandate, what we need to do is that we have to regularly measure and see where we are. And if you're not moving forward, right, we need to bring it to the proper people and tell them, look, this is where we should be now, but we are not there. Unless that measurement mandate comes into play, I do not see us moving forward much, right? So what I want to say is that the voices will be heard. I'm sure everybody will come forward to give new ideas. Together with it, we want to see how fast do you want that aspirations to be realized. So this, I think, is very, very important. And I want to close with this. In July last year, GBM organized an event called Rant and Rave. Some of you have been there. Why Rant and Rave is that a rant and rave about the performance of the Madani government. We invited people to come and actually talk about it. 100 people attended this event at KL Selangor Chinese Assembly Hall. And out of the 100 people, 70% were Malays. 20% were Indians. 10% was done line, including the Chinese. Okay. The feedback was good. It was a very mature discussion. Very mature discussion in the sense that 40% of the people who came were quite happy with what the government is doing, right? But 60% were not very happy. They say the government could have done better, right? So, on a positive note, I think we are on the right track. Only thing is that the people need to make their voice to be heard louder, right? With that, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Saudara Espinaden. Next, call upon Saudara Muhammad Shani from Sustainable Development Network Malaysia. And his area of sharing will be land and environment.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Salam sejahtera. While the government has articulated commitments to climate action, biodiversity protection, and energy transition, implementation gaps remain significant. Here, I just want to elaborate climate action. What is climate action? Only three. Reduce fuel consumption, reduce waste disposal, and conserve the forest. Only three. Reduce fuel means we have to reduce petroleum usage, and number two is waste, meaning we shouldn't consume which creates waste like plastic. So today I came for the breakfast, all plastic. So I have to say, no, we have to start. We cannot be saying 2015, 2050, 2050. It's today, now, us have to do it. Okay? Implementation gaps remain significant. Environmental governance continues to be constrained by weak enforcement, fragmented institutional coordination, and development priorities that often override ecological sustainability. Deforestation pressures, land conversion for extractive activities, river pollution, and unsustainable mining practices persist despite existing legal frameworks such as the Environmental Quality Act 1974 and the National Forestry Act 1984. Environmental impact assessment, though mandatory for prescribed activities, are frequently criticized for limited transparency, insignificant public participation, and weak post-approval monitoring. I was involved in this EI evaluation panel in 80s. Maybe you all don't know, 80s. And it was evaluating a paper mill in my locality. I'm from Pahang, Mentakap. They built a world-class paper mill. And when we questioned the local authority, why you approve it? I mean, we are having a EI evaluation, but the local authority already approved the mill. And the local authority replied, we thought it is a wood-based industry. No, paper mill is a wood-based industry, it means. I mean, that's why when there is no lack of consultation, they assume things which is not really true. Okay. Malaysia has pledged to maintain at least 50% forest cover and to reduce greenhouse gas emission intensity by 45% by 2030 relative to 2005 level. Again, the 50%. It was pledged during the 1989 Langkawi Declaration. Then we repeat the pledge in Rio Summit in 1981. And every National Land Council meeting commits to that 50%. You can go and read the minutes of the National Land Council meetings. It is there. The 50% forest cover. Meaning, every Prime Minister who chairs the National Land Council meeting knows about it. But, I mean, don't they worry, when they can't find the forest anywhere. But they read, oh, we maintain 5% forest cover. Okay, this is a commitment. No, internationally, we already committed. So, however, without stronger state-level compliance, independent monitoring, and clear accountability mechanisms, these commitments risk remaining aspirational. No, a critical concern is the government structure itself. Natural resources fall largely under the state jurisdiction, yet the state government decisions must strictly comply with all existing federal laws, national policies, international obligations, and constitutional protections. Development approvals cannot selectively disregard environmental safeguards or human rights standards, including the rights of indigenous people, local communities, to free, prior, and informed consent. So again, we are talking about climate change bill, but climate change involves natural resources, which is actually land based, and forest is actually under the state jurisdiction. But every state is represented in the National Land Council and also other national policy making mechanisms. The MB sits there, the PM is the chair. They make the decision. But whenever the state alienates land or change land use policies, what is actually seen is it doesn't comply with the national policies. Again, we already have a cutoff point for planting of palm oil. After 2020 December, no land can be open for oil palm, but yet state governments come out with EIA for opening forest land for planting oil palm. How can that be? We have already internationally committed. No, we are not opening forests for oil palm, but it is happening. The other thing is that under MSPO, if there is a land grab, again, that land cannot be licensed under MSPO. That is actually provision, policy, principles under MSPO, Malaysian Sustainable Palm Oil. It's there. But yet, all the orang asli land planted with oil palm is not actually complying to that principle, respecting the indigenous people and the local communities' rights. Again, some of the issues like previously former estate workers are actually rearing cattle in the vicinity and using the estate land for grazing. Again, these plantation companies now using pressures, using even local authorities to awake cattle farming. Whereas if you consider, cattle are not damaging anything, whereas they are actually controlling the grass, their dung is actually enriching the soil. Yeah. But how come these big companies doing this? What's the basis? So I'm just sharing. Environmental justice must be central to policy. Communities affected by pollution, land acquisition, ecological degradation often lack meaningful access to decision-making processes. Again, MSPO, there is actually a dispute settlement mechanism, but the people don't know about it. Human rights, including the rights to livelihood, clean water, health, cultural survival, must guide all natural resource governance decisions. The lesson is clear: policy declarations without structural reform will not deliver ecological security. Manifesto Rakyat must therefore call for stronger enforcement and independent oversight. No? Yesterday, MECC issued a press release defending the boss. So, how can that be? No, within MECC, there is no oversight mechanism. All are advisors. Transparent EIA.
One minute, sir.
Yeah, okay, finish. Transparent EIA and public participation reforms are needed. Binding climate accountability mechanism. No, we commit to Paris Agreement, but what is the mechanism to ensure compliance? Clear state level compliance requirement, protection of indigenous and community land rights, alignment of economic planning with ecological limits. So environmental governance must move from rhetoric to right-based, law-bound, and people-centered implementation. Thank you.
Thank you to Dr. Muhammad Shani, who spoke about the land and environment. Now, time for Q&A. Any questions?
Yeah, I think during the rants and whatever sessions we had, I think we also forgetting that no one should hold two ministers' posts. The Prime Minister holding both the positions. It was a fate during Najib's time. Today, and none of us to do anything. I will repeat this, when Mahathir took up education portfolio also when he was the Prime Minister for the second time, there was a lot of dissatisfaction. He really he kept to his promise. Why we could not do anything when Anwar took up the finance ministry position? So today, that is an issue. Respect to what the Maksabu said, like, okay, Najib to Najib to Najib, that's what's happening. I think that should also be included in your request for this. Thank you.
Any more? Sarajun, any questions?
I don't have a question. I don't have a question, but I have something to share on education. I was in PIBG Malaysia 1994. I gave a statement after I was a scholar PIBG board. I found that two classes, tingkatan satu, the teachers cannot teach. And they don't listen, they only play. So I decided to dig into it. And I found out all the two classes cannot read and write at tingkatan satu. So I had a very big argument with the state government and also with Najib. He was the education minister then. And we found out that 22% of all students daripada sekolah rendah ke sekolah menengah cannot read and write. I don't know what is the condition today, but I think it's serious. At that point, there was a little gap in vocational school. Because I kept telling Najib that please don't close down the vocational school. Because sometimes those kids who cannot academically read, they cannot catch up, but they are good in tools. At least they can live a life successful, sometimes even better than those coming out of the university. So this argument went very far, and we appeared in TV3 every morning, arguing at each other. Then finally, he asked me to come and meet him in Lumut. He came with the helicopter and sat down with the DG of Education and made some promises. So I'll have to dig out the promises, but I can tell you, none of them have been fulfilled. So this is serious. We are talking about 20% of our children who is going to be dropped. How are we going to save them? Thank you.
20% is about 100,000.
Hello everyone, Assalamualaikum. This is Aga from our South Initiative, also refugee get. So I would like to highlight about refugees because they don't have access to education and health and the others. And now government have announced about DPP, but it's also not clear because the fare is available, fare is in the ground level refugee facing. And a lot of challenges they have. What you talk about quality education, they doesn't have quality education here. And also GBV, gender-based violations they are facing, especially women who's not working. They have mental health issues, including their children, and also sexual harassment and other social issues, high level they are facing, and unlawful jail. This is very important, unlawful jail, because they considered like they are illegal, but they are not, because they want to put their asylum with UNHCR, but they plead the guilty because of the harass and pressure, and then they're going to back harming their lives in their own countries, especially who's facing religious persecutions at their countries.
நான் உங்கள் பாடலை தொடங்க முயற்சித்தேன், ஆனால் தற்போது எந்த மீடியாவும் பாடல் அல்லது வீடியோ ப்ளே செய்யப்படவில்லை.
So what about in your manifesto is included migrant or refugee, and what is your what you are raising for them actually? So please, yeah, just that. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Mary McLean from Aliwan. I just want to get some feedback from our experts on the field here, because I wrote a short article based on ICRAM's perception index, and I emphasized the need for more targeted sampling and more targeted studies to assess actual outcomes on the ground, outcomes of policy. So to pick up from Dr. Chitra, what you said about measuring actual outcomes, evaluating policy outcomes on the ground. And I called for greater engagement between CSOs, NGOs and the government, because although it is a responsibility of the government to monitor implementation and do proper evaluation of their policy implementation, but NGOs who work at the grassroots level have a lot of information input which they can give in. So I just am curious of the representatives here, has there been any kind of engagement with the government because like education ministry, they even had at one time, I remember they set up a online response kind of thing where you can go online and give your views and give your feedback. So I know education ministry did that, but I don't know how successful that was. Just want, if there's some, I just want to know what was your experience in engaging with the government? Are the avenues there, and have they been effective, or what are some of the problems, that kind of thing?
Actually, next year, 2027, MOE is coming up with a new curriculum 2027. So before they came up with the curriculum, they developed the curriculum, they had a lot of sessions with various bodies. It was almost 1 whole year was spent on coming up with this, synergizing with various bodies, NGOs, experts, before they developed the curriculum. That was done. And there was also town hall sessions also, if I'm not mistaken. But now, like what I would like to inform you is, I think Mr. Guna's permission, we've had one round of discussion regarding this new Rancangan Pelajaran Pendidikan Malaysia, and this will be carried forward. I think after discussing with other NGOs, this is we are going to have a session with the minister to see how it works. Maybe Mr. Guna can explain further.
Okay. Last question.
Last question.
If no question, we can go to the next agenda. Okay, maybe following Chitra's sustain, regarding the National Education Plan, there is an effort made to review or look into the plan because look, the plan was just announced. I don't know how detailed it was discussed earlier, but later we want to discuss even further with other NGOs, stakeholders, and take it up to the ministry level. All right, thank you. All right, media, got any questions?
To add on to that, once that has been discussed, we will look at what the Manifesto Rakyat says. The Rakyat's voice, what they want in education, and then align it with what the Rancangan Pelajaran Malaysia has, and maybe make some suggestions to the minister.
Time for media to ask questions.
Any questions from the press? Yeah, okay.
For the MR 2.0, is this the survey will be done by Unpo?
Any form of engagement.
Engagement.
Any form of engagement.
Any form of engagement.
You can attend their parties, you can go to their house, you can actually call for events, you can even actually have some discussion or even any kind of forum over your own organization. I think it's okay to get the information back and the voices of people.
Oh, I mean, how about phone call? Phone call.
Phone call?
You mean phone call from our side?
Yeah.
Oh, you mean the survey?
Oh.
I think that is.
This is not really a survey.
I mean, current survey is through the electronic means and the Google survey form. Yeah. But we can also distribute the physical copy. We do a survey when we go to the communities and we jot out manually and then we put it back to the relevant policy coordinators. So policy coordinators in the working group will do work to collect, to document.
Will there be any template where everyone can just
one
go
is
in
the
and
survey form that I already showed the link, and another one is the submission form, which you can put a more detailed proposal, multiple
guided one.
Yeah, the longer one. Yeah. So currently we have two forms. Yeah.
Okay, since there's no other questions, next will be our photo session. Okay, how are we going to go about? Get all of them to be here? Okay, I think we just move the table a bit from the light.
Yeah. Turn on the light. Yeah. And those who are in the working group, you should, and partners, you can. Your friends.
The speakers, please see. The rest can go behind. Correct.
1, 2, 3. Gain 1. Video.
Satu gambar 50 ringgit. Cik bayar kita.
Okay.
Okay. Can I habis kamera? Okay. Wait, no. Thank you. Kada ni? Ke
Live?
Manifesto Rakyat. இதை பத்தி முதல்ல சொல்லுங்க. அப்புறம் வந்து நம்ம 1 and 2
Manifesto Rakyat வந்து to record down the voices of the people. Peopleக்கு மக்கள் வந்து என்ன ஆர்வம், என்ன வேணும் அந்த அரசாங்கத்துல இருந்து, ஸோ அதை ரெக்கார்ட் பண்ணுறது தான் இந்த Manifesto Rakyat லான்ச்
இப்போ வந்து 2.0 தான் வந்து இன்னைக்கு வந்து
லான்ச் பண்ணுறோம்.
இப்போ வந்து இதோட 1.0க்கு வந்து ரெஸ்பான்ஸ் மக்கள் கிட்ட இருந்து எப்படி இருந்தது? மறுபடியும் நீங்க சொல்ல முடியுமா? 60% வந்து நாங்க பேலன்ஸ் வந்து நெக்ஸ்ட் இதுக்கு போறதுக்கு.
ஸோ பேலன்ஸ் இன்னும் இல்லை, இன்னும் 2 வருஷம் இருக்குல்ல, 1.5 வருஷம் இருக்கு. எப்படி செய்யாங்கன்னு தெரியல. அதனால தான் இப்போ Manifesto 2.0 தான் எல்லாம் நம்ம போக அனௌன்ஸ் பண்ணுவோம்.
Pocket group discussion, smaller group discussion, forums. சொல்லுங்க other things.
வேணும் உங்களோட ஆர்வம் என்ன, அரசாங்கம் உங்களுக்கு என்னென்ன கொடுக்கணும், Manifesto 2.0 லான்ச் பண்றதுக்கு.
வந்து இதுக்கு வந்து இந்த கட்சிகளுக்கிட்ட இருந்து என்ன மாதிரியான எப்படி இருக்கு ஆதரவு? கட்சிகள்லாம் வந்து எப்படி சப்போர்ட் பண்றாங்க?
போன வாட்டி ரொம்ப சப்போர்ட் பண்ணாங்க. Manifesto 1.0, Manifesto 2.0 நம்ம செய்யறது அவங்களுக்கு நல்லது தானே. சொல்ல போனா அவங்க செய்யணும் பாருங்க. அவங்க தான் மக்கள்கிட்ட போய் அவங்களோட வாய்ஸஸ் கேட்டுட்டு சொல்லணும், ஓகே நம்ம இது செய்வோம் அது செய்வோம்னு சொல்லணும். அந்த வேலையை நம்ம செய்யறோம். நம்ம ஸோ இன்னைக்கு கேட்டீங்கன்னா அவங்க நம்மளுக்கு ஆதரவு கொடுக்கணும்.
இதுக்கு முன்னாடி 1.
சொல்லுங்க. கட்சிங்க இருக்கு. ஏன்னா அடுத்த அரசாங்கம் யாருன்னு நமக்கு தெரியாது. இந்த வாட்டியும் செய்வோம். ஓகே, தேங்க்யூ.
அப்புறம் நல்லா பேசுறீங்க, என்ன தமிழ் தள்ளுறீங்க?